Let's open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning, everyone. I think the Health Department's first.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe there's some paperwork in front for the EMS contract that's been signed for the COVID testing that will be until the end of the year of December of 2022. It just needs your signature.
So the money's already in place, Nannette? The money's already in place to pay EMS?
I'll have to check with the auditor on that, but they should have received it. No, not yet.
That was a problem we had before. We didn't receive no money.
Yep.
We couldn't pay EMS.
So it's $8,333.33 per month. And so what's the term of the contract? How long?
For 6 months.
For 6 months?
Yes.
And there's money coming,
Yes.
but not here yet.
Yes.
So I'll move to approve the contract for EMS COVID, what am I going to say, COVID help?
Testing.
Testing?
The EMS COVID testing.
EMS COVID testing, okay, for 6 months?
I'll second that. All in favor, just need your signature.
Okay. Okay.
And then up next, there's some papers that have been submitted for the local public health coordinator. And we did get the grant for the next year, and then also a contract that has been signed by myself and also Mike Faulk. And we're just needing your signatures for the contract that's been signed.
That's all through a grant too, right?
There's a different grant out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we sign the grant for the, was the LPH coordinator?
Yeah, LPHC.
See,
What are the dates and the dollar amount for that?
I see a dollar amount of $22,200 for the year. And the year being July 1, 22 to June 30, 23.
Yes, for one, yes.
You guys need to stop saying grant, you keep waking me up back here.
Yeah. There's a lot of money floating around grant.
I guess we made the motion, right? I forgot.
Did you make the motion? Who did?
I think I did.
Yes,
I'll
we
second
did.
that.
All in favor? Anything else?
I wanted to give everyone an update as to what's happening in the health department. We are coming across some challenges as a result from the grants, like from the local health department. We are going to be increasing our hours for evenings once a week, also once a month for weekends. So they want to increase the immunization rates, especially for children, the vaccination rates. Franklin County is lagging behind, mostly because from the fallout from COVID. And so we are having to be able to get out there to the community to be able to offer this. Also for just adults too, tetanus shots, flu shots. We've been behind the desk for quite a while, and so the goal is that we need to be able to offer ourselves more for the residents of Franklin County. Once we get our equipment that we need, which is going to be a portable vaccine refrigerator freezer, that way we can start doing mobile clinics, but where we can go to the schools to be able to do vaccinations, be able to go out to the public and be able to do clinic vaccinations. Once we can get the staffing again, to be able to get another RN on board. There's also a deliverable where we need to be able to get, the title is, excuse me, going to be like a health maintenance coordinator. And also, we're going to need like a Health Department Liaison, where during these off hours, where we have somebody downstairs to be able to guide people in through the building. So that way they're coordinated to come up to the health department and they're not getting lost, especially since the department is closed. And then that way we can ensure that they're going from point A to point B and then point B back outside correctly. I did speak with Pete Cates about this, and we're coming up with an action plan on how we're going to be able to work this out. We are going to be coming up with some more ideas. I'm networking with the volunteer fire department and also with the EMS, so that way we can try to get people that are there and that are going to be with, you know, a badge, and then not somebody there that's like wearing t-shirt, shorts going, hey, you know, and that way it's going to show a little bit more representation of Franklin County. Then also, just trying to get some more ideas of how we can do this in a safely and effective way of being able to get our vaccinations taken care of. Lots of ideas on how we're going to be able to do this. I'm just throwing this out right now, and I'm learning as we go along. Things might be changing as we go along, and so I'm just throwing this out there as to what's happening for right now.
One thing, Nannette, they're going to start scaffolding the building for the roof, so it may create a problem for you on the handicap entrance to get your people in for a while until they get the roof done.
Thank you. I appreciate the heads up. So communication is going to be great, and then we'll be flexible, and then that's what we need to be able to do is having that liaison there too. So for escort.
So our handicap entrance, will it be closed completely for a time?
I don't know how they're going to set the scaffold up yet, but it's possible because they're scaffold this whole side and this whole side. So this entrance down here may be the only one that's open. I'm not sure yet.
So we may have to build a temporary wooden handicap ramp there.
Right.
If we
Maybe
do, we will.
Mr. Palmer might have some ideas on that, on what they're going to do with the Plan B for the handicap accessible, not only for vaccinations, but just for the general public that are coming in.
We'll have to get with Dan and see if they're going to be able to use that entrance downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then before the meeting, you gave me a short rundown of some other issues you've had with your health department, the trailer emergency, I'm going to call it the emergency replacement trailer?
Yeah, it's like a RV
Yeah.
that has been underutilized and been sitting dormant for quite a while. And Dr. Welsh and I have been discussing on different options on how we can sort of get some maintenance work done to it, ensure that it's safe to be able to use, and we're working on some options, especially with Mike Faulk, on how we can better utilize this for different options on different things that we can do to be able to work with this with the grants that we have. So that's going to be more work in process, but the issue is also just safety and making sure that it's safe to be able to use and be able to mobilize with it. And so we're just going to start with that step first. And then also with just the vehicles that we have with the health department also, and looking at that and maintenance and looking at the years of use on that. And so we just got to start with the foundation and the grounds up and see what we have for the tools that we have, and then start from there.
Well, I think we mentioned if you need help, we'll try to go to the highway department if you need to move that trailer. And if they are busy, I'll donate my service too. You know, I can use my pickup truck to move it if you need to, so.
Right, and so, yeah, we want to try to keep things as much as local as possible and use our surfaces here, and then we'll take it from there.
We'll work through it.
Yeah.
And then I think you said your vehicles are needing some attention, getting old, so that's something you need to go to council with this fall.
Yes.
Tell them your vehicles are
Right.
in need of replacement, or at least one of them maybe, so.
Yes, and Carla and I had a leadership meeting just yesterday, and so she sort of gave me like a general orientation in the beginning, and so we're coming up with some ideas, and so I've been having some good meetings with people, and I'm just starting, so, yeah.
Council appreciates if you come to them, you know, this fall for your needs next year, so.
Exactly, and that's what I'm preparing for.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and one of the things that we talked about yesterday was, and we've had discussions with some of the other departments, is we are getting so many grants since the pandemic that it's becoming very cumbersome to even track, because they're starting to cross multiple years. So we might have something that's like 20 to 22, and then we'll get one that's 21 to 23, and now we're dealing with 22 to 24. We're dealing with like three different grants, 3 layers, and we're still not closed in that.
Yeah.
So we talked about that we need to get some sort of policies put in place. The state board of accounts actually asked me for a policy last year, and I just said, we don't have policies, we really need that. So we need to get something put in place where we need a lot more communication with the auditor's office, because when this money comes in, if we don't know which grant cycle to actually apply it to,
Yeah,
or if we don't receive it incorrectly, that it's federal money, state money, or it's local match. When I go to report that at the end of the year, it really messes up the numbers, and I haven't passed the test yet. With getting that, because it's not getting received in right. And we've gone, I think we started with maybe 13, 15 before the pandemic, and we're up to 42. So it's because we got to get something in place. We really feel, we both kind of felt like when she, and I think that the health department has done it, that when they apply for a grant, they come to you to get permission to do it. That way you know what they're even applying for. And then depending on what type of grant it is, they really need to go to council, because a lot of these grants is actually using county general money, while we wait behind the scenes and nobody knows it's being used until it gets reimbursed. And so council doesn't realize either that, hey, we've got all this money over here that we think we have, and we don't really have it because it's in the red in these accounts.
yeah, I'm with you. I mean, just like today, we signed off to get a grant, it's gone out of our eyes, and nobody tracks it from there, so, yeah.
Yes, we gotta come up with something. It's still a work in progress too. Hopefully maybe by January of next year, we can get something in place that works for everybody. I don't want to make it harder on anybody, I just want to make it easy that when we see something like public transportation and we're like looking at it like, oh, like, it's just hard to interpret when we got 42 levels from different departments and different federal, state levels given to us. It has to follow. And one other thing you might want to talk about this, public transportation's had the issue too, is we learned through the ARPA grant that if we give money, and we haven't really clarified yet, this applies to vendors, like we don't know if it applies to vendors or not. The way the public transportation sounded, it does apply to vendors that we would use. If she was told that if she uses a vendor and pays over $25,000, that she needs to verify with SAM.gov that they actually have what used to be called that DUNS number, now it's the unique entity ID number. And the same applies with the ARPA funds, that we run into the issues with the fire departments that they have to also have those numbers. So there's a difference between a sub-recipient that has to have that number, and there's a difference between a contract or board similar to the Franklin County EMS, which I still need to verify their number. And for whatever reason, it's become a big issue with the federal government this year. I don't know why.
I know, and it takes a while to get that number too. I went through that with my own company. It's not a thing of, you know, you filling out a form and you got it tomorrow. It takes months. So, departments need to.
I started to work, I thought maybe John Palmer would be here today. I started to work with the Baltimore Fire Department so that we get them paid for those 2 radios.
Yeah.
And we just put in this email and we ran into a glitch. And it's like, okay, so I'm not sure, you know, if they can't really maybe necessarily get a new number, but they have to find their old number and then like renew through that number, I'm not sure. But it might be easier just to ask council to pay for it out of contingency and give us a little bit more time to figure out how we're gonna get some of these organizations their numbers or how we're gonna pay them. So, but that's just something, it'll be a work in progress, hopefully by January, we can have something established.
Yep. All right, thank you.
Carla, can you get with any of your fellow auditors in any place and see if they have any policies they like, particularly?
They do, like, they're so long.
I know, I don't know how to make them not long when you're dealing with federal grants.
I know.
And I've got a document that we got a copy of with the town that's enormous. It's like the suggested federal guidelines, just that document.
If you can't get past the second page, you don't know about that. Yeah. But I think we definitely need to work our way through that long policy and try to pull out what we need to get it condensed so that it just works.
Okay.
Something.
Yeah. Somehow working with the government and working with an attorney, you can't get anything short.
Behave or I'll bring in more attorneys.
Nannette, she wants.
What's the RV supposed to be used for? What's the purpose of it again?
We're going to work on that objective. And Dr. Welsh and I are going to figure out what exactly we're going to do. I can't speak to the back history on that since I am new, but I know that from here on out, that's what we're going to work on, is what we want to do with that. And I'll get back with you on an answer on that.
Okay. And you talked earlier about a couple more people, the health maintenance coordinator and the health department liaison.
Yes.
Is that going to be funded through grants or through the county budget, or how are those positions going to be funded?
I'm new to this position and I'm learning all the different things with the budget, and so I'm going to find out how I'm going to do all that. So
Initially, what we're looking at is, this is where it gets confusing too.
Yeah.
Because they're receiving money for the vaccines that they're getting reimbursed for.
yeah.
And the state calls it a grant,
But it's not.
but it's not really a grant, so that makes it even more confusing. And before they didn't have to track it, the first payment they didn't have to track it, on the last 2 payments they have to track it, that's what you do with the grant. So that's, I know, see what I'm talking about? So that's the money that they want to use, but it gets confusing when she goes to council because she uses money on anything. So it can be spent on anything, the grant reason that they get this is the purpose to hire more people so that they can have these clinics and they can say, they actually are required to have heating hours to give that money. So That's probably the money that's gonna be used, it's just, we gotta get a proper name for it.
So it's a work in progress.
Exactly. This is day 4, day 5. and
Yep.
I'm shuffling my feet, so.
So Bridget, I would think as long as the money continues to keep coming in,
Yeah.
that's money that we use to fund these positions and it won't like be the taxpayer money.
It'll be like contract positions, not employees of the county.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Or part-time.
All right, anything else?
Unless you want to know anything else, that's,
Anybody have anything else for the health department? I think you're good, thank you.
Quick question.
Oh,
Can you use the RV as, I know you're getting everything in order and it's very hectic for you right now, so I completely understand that. But is it possible to utilize the RV outside while the handicap entrance is closed to run a vaccine clinic?
like I said, Dr. Welsh and I are working on a plan. So we're working on the options.
I think originally that's what it was bought for, what, 10, 12 years ago? Was
Yeah, it's
to
12
have
years.
a mobile clinic that they could use, and just never happened. It's set in the building down there.
Yeah.
They use it at fair time.
Yeah,
That's
the
it.
issue is that it's not real handicap accessible to go up and down those steps.
oh,
I even have a hard time going up and down the steps myself. So there's lots of different issues to work with on that. So it's work in process.
I've
First, we
never
gotta make sure
seen-
it's safe. We'll start with, we gotta make sure it's safe.
I've never seen an RV with a handicap accessible. It would have to be something portable that you would take and move to it when you set it, I would think.
Yeah. So we'll find out more. I'm just
Yeah.
bringing all this up.
But I can see that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we'll try to help as you need it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, thank you. I think if you guys are ready, we'll go into we'll open the Board of Finance meeting. So I'll move to open Board of Finance.
I'll second. All in favor?
You're up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I asked to be put on the agenda today because we've had an uptake in the interest rates that are getting better slowly with the bank. And currently we have, not including the ARPA money, $22,549,475.10 in the operating accounts, which goes across the tax collection account, payroll, there's a money market account, and general. So in front of you, I got bids from FCN and from Bass State Bank, and I did spreadsheets on the front, which they should say estimate, and they don't, so they are estimated what we would earn. I'm actually looking to invest anywhere from $1 million to $5 million. I would recommend that we only go up to a year, just in case the interest rates do continue to climb.
Sounds like
That I
we're
don't
getting-
want to lock in the money for 2 years at
Yeah.
2.24%, where we could be getting possibly more than that. I also have included on the very back page information from Trust Indiana, which we have in the past invested in Trust Indiana. It's not CDs, it's more like starting a bank account or a money market account, which it has the better interest rates on a month-to-month basis. But the only downfall to that is you are at the mercy of the economy, whether it goes up or down. Right now, on the 24th of July, it was running at 1.24 a month. Whereas before, you could see it was a little bit less than that.
And where is this Trust Indiana account?
Trust Indiana, I do believe, is located in Indianapolis.
That's one fault of mine. I like keeping our money in Franklin County.
Right, but the good thing about Trust Indiana, though, it's all the counties of Indiana. If we all compile the money, we get better return, which I agree, keep it in the county. So it's just an option. Whereas with Trust Indiana, we put it in one day, we can take it out the next if we need it. Whereas a CD, you're locking it in for the 12 months and you'll be paying a penalty if you take it out before.
The Trust Indiana account,
I calculated that if we put the $5 million in from January up until yesterday, we would have made, I think it was like $17,000 in interest. But I do also have, you don't have it, I have it in front of me, what we have earned already this year from January to June. We've only earned $29,757.62 in interest.
yeah.
Yeah, so I would like to do something so we can start making the money work for us.
So officially, do you need something for us? You need guidance from us? You need a motion from us?
Actually, I would like a blessing, guidance, I can go up to 5 million that I can deposit into a CD. I can do it into one CD, I can do it into a couple CDs. I can go across both banks to make it fair.
Well, if you go 5 million, they match, right? They're the same. Am I looking at that correctly?
Actually, Bath was a little bit lower. They were at 2%, whereas FCN was at 2.24. So at the 5 million at 12 months at the 2.24, we're estimated to make $112,000 for the year.
On your chart you gave us, it's the same. FCN and Bass is the same. 2.24.
Did I do it wrong?
Well, I don't know.
No. Bath for the 5 million, oh, sorry, that's actually it should be 2%, is the 100,000.
Okay.
Clerical error, I'm sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't think I'd go total 5 million, just in case.
In one or no? I didn't hear you.
You go 2 million on each.
You want to do 2 million at Bath and 2 million at FCN for a year?
Okay, FCN be 2.25.
Yeah. 2.4.
2.24, yes.
And Bass State Bank would be at 2.
Correct.
Would they match?
I can ask.
Do 2 million in each one if they'll match?
Okay.
What do you think?
Doesn't hurt to ask. Yeah.
I'll take the higher rate.
That's where I'm at. I mean, it's hard, as a business guy, you ask somebody to give you their best rate, and they did, and then you don't go to them and give them all your business. That's tough for me. But if that's what your feelings are, I'm good with it.
Yeah, if they don't match, we just go the highest rate.
Okay.
I think 12 months is plenty though.
Yeah, I wouldn't go beyond. Sounds like the feds are getting ready to up the interest rate again.
Right. That's why I was kind of leery of locking it in at 2
Yep.
years.
Yep.
Okay.
Could go the other way.
Mr. President,
Yes.
this is Number Meyer. If she spent that much money, if you would invest $1 million every month, at the end of it, you would have it maturing at different times instead of all in one CD.
I'm only allowed to invest up to 50% of our cash flow, and with fall taxes coming due and being paid out for settlement, I don't want to lock in all the money because I'm going to need to have money paid out, and I don't want to have to. I understand what you're saying.
Because it would be, I know as money, if I had CDs, I prefer them every month or every 3 months to mature instead of one maturing. It's easier to plan money around different maturity dates. Thank you.
Yep.
I mean, that's possible. That's going to be a whole lot more work
Yeah,
because I'm going to have to go through the process of getting more bids every month.
yeah, I'm good. You're doing good. No problem. That all you got?
That's more like
Yeah.
a money market account, what she's
Excuse me?
talking about. Money market, she's more or less talking money market.
I have no idea what she's referring to. I mean, I understand the process of getting a CD every month. That way you have one coming due every single month, but that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess make a motion to
All
close the
right,
meeting.
I'll move that we close the Board of Finance and back into the Commissioner meeting.
I'll second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, gentlemen.
I've got a couple things to touch on. I've got a hearing, a teleconference, I'm supposed to get on at 11 o'clock. I wonder if we could hit a
Yeah.
couple things I had. I sent over a draft of a license to use the right-of-way for the Whitewater Canal Trail that was in last time. I think that's mostly across the area there is to use the right-of-way across one parcel. I started with a form another entity uses and put in indemnification language about indemnifying the county, and basically set it up so that you're only conveying the right to use what right you have. I mean, not that you don't own it outright, you're just conveying the right to use the right of way. Rob said there's a 40-foot right of way along that strip along Dam Road, and that's what they would be using. So I'm working with Rob to get a legal description to slide in with that agreement to define exactly where they have that license to use the right of way. One question I had, how long do you want this to last? Is it so long as it's used as a trail? Is it for a set period of time? What's it for?
I would say as long as the trail's active. If the trail is no longer active, it's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can probably put some language in there if you need to, that you have the right to amend it right in as well, so that if you need to change something.
The trail, who owns the trail?
That there is a Whitewater Canal Trail Inc. nonprofit corporation
So maybe we
that
ought,
owns the trail.
for some odd reason, they would ever sell their rights, it ought to end also? So it wouldn't pass on to other owners? What do you think?
Yeah, why don't you just make it not assignable without your written consent?
Yeah.
I think I seen in there where we can terminate it at any time.
Yeah, that's my thing. You'll have the ability to terminate it if you need to terminate it. But otherwise it will carry on so long as they're using it for the trail, but you have the right to terminate that work.
Yep.
Trying to think if there's anything else in there we need to cover. I think that was the biggest thing is how long it would run. And it'll be a recordable document that'll go into the property record that they had the right to use it. So if this is 25 years and somebody's trying to figure out what the heck's going on, it'll be in the record. That was one thing I had. Do you want to discuss the 4-H briefly? 4-H signage?
Yeah, so the 4-H board has got a donor for their new building, I hear, and it is Franklin County Farmers Mutual. And I think we need some kind of an agreement But it may be too early to sign this yet, is that true, Grant? Are you
Yeah.
still working on I think we was talking, we need to go back and look at the original agreement between 4-H and the commissioners.
So yeah, Brian Baxter was supposed to get back to me from 4-H. He said there is a very long-term lease
There is.
out there, but he wasn't sure when it started or when it ran. I think this would be a good opportunity that you probably need to update that lease, that building. There's talk about it being shared use for several other community functions as well. And so we probably need to articulate what that lease entails as far as what 4-H's rights are going forward to continue using that, but then to also make sure these other uses that have been discussed, like community uses, are covered in there. And to me, it makes sense to put this signage within that lease, that they have the right to maintain reasonable signage on the front of the building for this purpose, something like that. But it makes sense to me to include this, because really, that agreement is between farmers and 4-H more, and you guys are just signing and acknowledging it. So I think really where it probably needs to go is in that lease, and that you're acknowledging that you're okay with doing that in the lease.
So we directed Fay to look for that old original lease. Mr. Wilson says he remembers signing it. It was back when my dad and him and Mr. Brock was commissioner.
In the late 90s.
Okay,
We signed a 99-year lease.
okay.
Do you want me to look forward to my office?
I don't know where it went.
You
Susan
got it
was
in
our
your
secretary
desk?
at the time, I believe.
There's like a bunch of filing cabinets with documents I can look through.
Yeah, we need to find it.
It should be a commissioner meeting at some place down there, I would think, but.
Yeah. Yeah, it was in the late 90s. I don't remember what year.
Right, yeah, I think Brian was gonna check on 4-H's side to see if he had a copy handy.
Yeah.
That helps me at least some. I know it's intact for a while. I didn't know, I was signing like 1930 for 99 years. That's a different ballgame than signing in the
But
90s.
there was one real old that we
Yeah.
renewed. It was going to expire in 20 years or something. They wanted to renew it. So we done it for another 99 years.
But I just think it makes sense for everybody, instead of just doing this piecemeal, get an overarching agreement set up that covers everything, and who's gonna have insurance for what events, and, you know, that there's an agreement on how the fair dates are set, so that you guys aren't using it during the fair and things like that.
Sounds good. So you'll continue working on that and get back to us.
Yeah, I can't remember what date they were having. I don't think they needed to have something signed immediately. I think they needed to know it was moving.
Yes. So I just want to say thank you to Franklin County Farmers Mutual. They're going to be a sponsor for the new building, and it is very important for our community. 4-H is a great thing for our kids, not only their physical health, but their mental health. Mental health is as important to this community as anything. So get them kids outside and involved in something is very important.
Yeah.
So we'll just say we'll come back. We'll address that. We'll come back to it. But as far as we're concerned, we can give it our blessing that we are in favor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they want to put their name on the building. I'm fine with that.
yeah.
And then the other thing I had was at the last meeting, you had approved the redevelopment would give its 15% of the funds to education. I had some discussions. I talked to the superintendent after that. I talked to John Palmer, Bill Shermer briefly. I think it might be useful if, I don't know if the group gets together or just an email on some parameters for what that looks like, if that's going to be used for specific things or not to be used for specific things, or if the school's going to apply for that 15%, have somebody would approve what that is, or if it goes carte blanche, or however that goes. So I think it probably would be useful if I had one of you as a contact to sort of drive that, so that there can be whatever parameters people want on it, whatever's useful to the school, and get that buttoned down to something probably a little bit more of a program.
Makes no difference. I mean, I will, or you guys can.
I'll do it.
There you go. You got
That's your
Mr. Wendell. Yep,
Okay,
yep.
all right. I think that's all I had. Do you guys have anything else for me?
On the nuisance thing, you think we need to get with some of the people in the APC and maybe the health department and try to get that where it's more user friendly?
Yeah. You do that?
I think we're done with you. If you want to go,
Okay. I'll be around. It's gonna take another call, but
we got
be around.
transportation. Anything need grant for or not? Don't know. No.
Missy?
You need grant for anything, you think, or
No,
not?
I don't need it.
Okay, okay.
I just have our quarterly.
I just wanted to be sure before we let him go on. You can go ahead.
Okay.
I just have our quarterly statement.
Yeah.
And it also includes, we had to close out the CARES fund. So this is drawing down all the CARES fund we received and the ARP funds. So there's actually 3 invoices.
So you need approval for those?
Yeah.
I think we just need some. Tell us about this. What is it?
It's our regular quarterly. It's what we spent for April, May, and June. Just our reimbursement for everything from the state.
So I got Q1 period. It's got 2 different amounts.
Yeah, there's 3 different invoices. There's one for the CARES money that we received that has to be drawn down.
Okay, so let's do it first. So you've encumbered $818,611, and it says funds available is $82,595, and the
That-
current request is $82,595.
Yeah,
So I'll move to approve that one.
that's the rest of the CARES funding.
That's
So
the
that
rest of
takes
CARES.
us out of the
Yeah.
CARES.
Okay, and then the other 2,
The next one, where we're requesting the $16,895, that's the rest of the ARP funds.
So it's zeroed out?
Yeah.
Funds available, 16,000, okay.
okay, I'll move to approve the $16,895.
I'll second. All in favor?
And then the next one is for the 2209, and that's the 5311 funding that we get from Indiana, or from the federal government. That's just what we had left that they will pay out after the CARES and the ARP money.
The current request is $2,209, and it leaves, it's a local match of $737. So we've got a local match available?
Yeah, these are the local match that we do at the grant at the beginning of the year. That's right, isn't it?
So it's a third,
Is that where
okay.
that comes from?
Local match comes from the council every year, doesn't it, miss? 30-some thousand?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that. Because it's not labeled as a match. It's almost like it's money that's given to transportation, it's like giving money to senior citizens.
Yeah, it is. They always used it for a match for the state of Indiana.
When it says first quarter, what month are those, is that actually for?
Can I let you know, I need to talk to Todd at NDOT because their quarters in this system were messed up. So this is how they've been coming to us. So let me talk to him.
I'll email and I'll keep you on.
See the one we met with the other day?
Yeah.
Are we good, Carly, you think? Okay, I'll move to approve the $2,209.
When do we need to meet again?
That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna call Faye to set up a meeting with you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's it?
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
You guys got something to do today?
We're just gonna give a little update.
Come on up. Hope you didn't need Grant. I turned him loose
No,
already.
no.
All right.
But we just wanted to give a little bit of update on our office and our extension programs. I haven't had a chance to officially introduce Elizabeth to you at a commissioners meeting. I know we met at a council meeting the other night, but Elizabeth Myers, our new 4-H educator, we're really excited to have her. I was really happy to get through the fair, both of our first fair together as educators. So I'll let her give you a little more updates on that.
So the fair was a couple weeks ago. I think it was a success. We had around 500 4-H'ers from Franklin County. I think project numbers were a bit down compared to previous years, but I don't have exact numbers on that. So now we're working on state fair stuff. We'll be taking projects up from the county. I'll be working at some events up there in the next few weeks. And then once fair stuff wraps up, I'll start programming and going to schools and doing other outreach programs as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with 4-H youth development.
Great.
Does anybody have any questions or suggestions about programs?
I heard a lot of good things about the 4-H fair, so it must have been all good this year.
Yeah, I think it went well.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's your guys' gardens doing?
What?
Your raised beds, Veronica probably
Yeah,
does.
she'll probably talk about that.
Yeah, so we have produce both at Laurel and Brookford. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the straw bales, but the pumpkins and the squash are starting to produce as well. We have cherry tomatoes down there. The chard looks really good. We have mint and parsley in our herbs bed, and we also have a couple pumpkins. So really happy with how that's going. We have strawberries as well. That Karen Meyer donated, and then the pollinator gardens are also doing well. Shelley Lunsford and the Community Foundation have been working with us on those. And in Laurel, we also have squash, tomatoes, a different herbs bed there, and peppers as well. So with the produce in Brookville, we're going to start donating it to Red Life this week, and then also save some of it to use for nutrition programs with the nutrition education program educator, Carrie Piper. She covers Fayette and Franklin County. And then she's also going to be coming down to Laurel as well. And there we're setting up a station at the library for people to come and pick up the produce we have. So we're weighing it all and keeping track of it for the Growing Together grant that we got through Purdue as well in volunteer hours. So really happy with how they're going for our first year. And we're hoping to have 2 garden celebrations, one here at Lou Wallace, the Brookville on August 31st, and then in Laurel on September 8th, just to hopefully do a salsa class and share some of the produce and just celebrate our first season. So.
Cool.
Yeah, and then one other thing, I'll be partnering with the Dearborn County educator to host a Master Gardener class this fall in Lawrenceburg. So if there's anyone interested in that, and we're hoping to get those Master Gardener volunteers to go through the class involved in the gardens next season.
Cool.
Yeah, do you guys have any other questions about the gardens?
Well, you've got me interested because I think I'm going to try it at home next year.
Yeah.
So what happens to the old bales? Do you reuse them next year or not?
So I actually was talking to Faye a little bit about this since this is my first year doing the straw bale garden. Apparently you can use them for a couple of years. You just have to use wire to hold them together. And then after that you can compost them on a compost pile. So usually 2 to 3 years max. So I think we're going to try one more season with these straw bales to see if they hold together. But yeah, and hopefully for the overwintering in the raised beds in Laurel, we're going to do some cover crops, try some different things with those. But yeah, they're nice and they're experimental and demonstration gardens as well, so still learning in the process too. But I'll report back in 2 years to let you know how long.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're down to commissioner meeting minutes for June 28th.
I move to approve the minutes of June 28th.
Commissioner meeting. All in favor? And July the 12th.
I move to approve the meeting July the 12th.
I'll second.
How about here?
Okay, we got claims. Claims $270,312.53. Any red flags, Carla?
No.
I move to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
And we got payroll deductions, $278,223.52. I'll move to approve.
I'll second it. All in favor?
What is this?
Yes. That's the payroll.
Oh. It's initial, I guess, on the bottom. So Carla, the utilities and the bond payment, we need to approve that also as in a motion?
Yes.
So we got utilities and bond payment, $266,321.22. I'll move to approve.
I'll second. All in favor?
That's the end of my folder. Oh no, I got something from Carla here. So maybe from the treasurer, I don't know. It's about the form number
144.
144. Says commissioners have received form 144s as presented to the auditor's office and submitted by the county offices. Commissioners make the following recommendation to the council. Wage increase of minimum of, we got to fill in the blank, for all full-time county employees. So we need to come up with a wage percentage that we are recommending to the council for all county employees.
I think when everybody was doing the budgets, we asked them to do 10%.
So I'll move to put 10% in the blank.
I'll second the motion.
I mentioned the history of the wages.
I had that somewhere, I don't know what I done with it. Do we need a signature on that anywhere else? I don't think so. Sign this or not? Okay. Jerry wants me to mention about the employees' past raises. How many years, Tom, do you count this up?
17.
17 years?
Yeah.
Had 9 raises in the past 17 years. I'll just read them off. 2005 was 2%, 2006 was 2, 7 was 0, 8 was 0, 9 was 4, 10 was 0, 11 was 2, 12 was 0, 13 was 0, 14 0, 15 0, 16 1%, 17 3%, 18 1%, 19 3%, and 20 0, 21 4%. So that, you know, the difficulty I have with that minimum amounts is getting qualified people to work for our government. We've got to stay up with the
Inflation.
inflation is killing everybody.
Gentlemen, this is from my office, speaking from my office and my personnel. Our biggest resource for the county in general is our employees. And since we're competing with everybody else, we need to make sure that we give our employees a good workable wage and show them our appreciation for what they've got. So any increase would be good, keeping in mind that the economy has gone up 8 to 10% over the last year and a half. That's something we need to keep in mind.
Yep.
You gotta have a living wage, or you just go out to find other employment.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
can't feed your family.
Can't feed your family or afford to drive to work.
Correct. Thank you.
Yep.
I'd like to talk about Ed Hollenbach when you get done.
I'm done, I think, so go ahead.
Everybody knows that Ed Hollenbach passed away here, I think on the 20th. And for years and years, I worked with Ed. Great man. Very dedicated to EMS and EMA. Probably 20 years he worked 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And I think all the council ever given was, $7,000 or $8,000, but Ed didn't care. He was so dedicated to his profession, that he done the labors out of love. He loved Franklin County and the people.
Yep,
And
he did.
I'd like to make July 20th Ed Hollenbach Day. If that's okay with you guys.
I'll make it a motion, make it official.
I'd like to declare July 20th, 2022 Ed Hollenbach Day, to celebrate Ed's life.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Tom. Ed was a great guy. I've sat in meetings with him and he was so dedicated.
Yep. Great man.
That's all I got. Anybody else have anything? Anybody on Zoom?
Yeah.
Yep, Ed.
Ed Beres is a member of the Franklin County Area Planning. I made some recommendations for changes to our zoning code, and I just want to make sure that you're aware that we're in discussion only at this point in time. I'll give you an example. The very first item is explosives, and there's some concern about the storage of fireworks and for display by sellers for these. And we don't have any requirement in that conditional use for a fire protection and an inspection by a local fire chief, whoever has jurisdiction within the area. That would be one item we're discussing. Several others over the years, just from observation, from concerns and things that come to the board. Another one would be shops for repair of automobiles and storage where there's no setbacks or requirements, so it's a conditional use. I would like to see us develop and put in our zoning code. The process for doing it is a little bit unclear at this point in time. I've made some recommendations. Either the administrator could make a recommendation to the board, or the president of the board could assign a committee to work as a committee and work on conditional use for that type of operations. I've seen good and bad around the county, and I think it's something we just need to address. So I thought I'd make you aware that we are in discussion on about 7 I think, different items. It's for discussion only at this point in time, and we'll be coming back with recommendations to you all.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, and on the fireworks, don't the state fire marshal have say-so in that?
Say again?
On the fireworks storage, don't the state have stuff that they require? And so does the local fire departments and the fire chief in the local district where that would be.
Well, there's nothing in our zoning code outside, maybe makes reference to state requirements, but there's the local fire chief would have to look at the fire protection, whether there's what type of water mains are in the area, are they large enough, or do they need to install a fire hydrant at the facility, so that, and what type of ingress, egress. The fatality that we had out here is what really raised this issue. The local emergency and the fire department had difficulty responding to it because of all the traffic that was people going out to see what was going on or whatever. And so those are the type of issues that we want to have a fire chief look at. You can't address everything from the state when you have local issues that may impact. And so that's the reason that raised concerns whether or not we need to make some changes and adjustments. So, and there's no description in our definition in our zoning code about storage of fireworks versus we have some people do mining that use some dynamite in their operation that has storage. Things have come up over the past several years where they've come to the board, and I just think there's some things we need to have some discussion on, maybe make some modifications to it.
Give me a heads up when you're going to talk about that in the meeting so I can attend, if you will.
Okay, well, some of it's up for discussion in August.
Okay.
August.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?